comes to traveling on a budget, everybody seems to talk about how you can exchange credit card points for Sky Miles to get cheap flights, or stay in hostels that are a little, too close for comfort. I'm 28, and I don't know about you, but I ain't trying to be having any bunkmates. However, nobody seems to be talking about the #1 travel hack that allows you to stay in fully furnished homes or apartments, potentially even located downtown or in the mountains or by the beach, all for no nightly rent. And I don't know about you, but this sounds a little,
scammy,
suspicious,
some may say, until I uncovered the world of house sitting. That is right, people. We are talking about where homeowners open their home to anyone. Well, not just anyone. Responsible adults to care for their lovely felines or plants and anything else that their house really could need. And I can't deny, I was intrigued by the idea. So I went and did what anybody would do, which is go on the web, have way too many energy drinks, and then from anxiety come to the conclusion that yours truly should be the one to see if house sitting is actually a travel hack worth trying. So join me while I pack my bags to Dublin and London to find out if house sitting is the new travel hack that you should be trying, or if it should be canceled like low-rise jeans.
never. Y'all will never do that again.
But before I could start packing my bags, I had one little snag. You see, I had to actually get a sit. So, let's get into finding a platform to house sit on. After numerous Google searches, I came across the one that I thought was best, which is Trusted House Sitters. Upon investigating the platform, it looked legit. There was good reviews, didn't seem to have any, scam giveaways. However, we came across another snag. There was membership tiers, and I admit my ego got the best of me. I went for the highest tier because that is where you get a badge that says that you are a pro member on Trusted House Sitters. And we know what that badge means. That says we mean business. The cost of the membership was $299. But in perspective, where are you going to stay in London or in Dublin and even get 2 nights out of that? After 20 applications and a few FaceTime calls, I secured my sits in London and in Dublin. And before I knew it, I was off to the home of the Guinness. After checking into the sit, I am welcomed with a playbook, and this is really everything as it relates to Susie's eating schedule, her behavior, also different directions for the plants. So in addition to watching Susie the cat, I'm just watering everything on this balcony. Most homeowners are going to provide you with, an extensive guide of which plants, or at least hopefully, if they don't, I would request that you do, just because plants have a lot of different watering needs and you don't want to mess it up. The heat wave in Dublin, it has been like nothing anyone has ever seen, and the directions I was given for plants was when the plants had rain, and it hasn't really rained. As you can imagine, those watering instructions are not going to be the most accurate for this time of year. But I digress. So after checking in, playing with Susie, I really can just go and do whatever I want for the rest of the day. The nice thing about the location that I'm in is that I'm on a 3rd floor, and this is a 24-hour surveillance building that I'm in, which for safety, love that. One of the really nice things about sitting is that I have access to a kitchen, which means I'm saving money and not eating out all the time. I have a full workspace, so I have a desk, I have a monitor that they're letting me use. I have the whole setup, everything I need to work. Pretty good location. I'm only about 20 minutes by bus outside of the downtown area of Dublin, but I have 3 bus stops in the area. I have a grocery store right around the corner, as well as a deli, so lots of different cafes still in the area that I'm in. I video called with the owners before this, well before getting the sit, and they showed me everything, showed me where everything was, pictures of Susie, go over anything that I may notice that's a little bit off in her behavior or off in the plants, because like I mentioned, half of them were dead when I showed up. But, just general stuff like that. But I really haven't had any issues aside from the plants here and there. In general, it hasn't really been that different from an Airbnb. So as my sit wrapped up in Dublin, I had a few clean out procedures to do, as well as coordinating with the hosts of, when I was going to leave, when they needed me to leave, and how they wanted things left. However, there was one additional thing that I just couldn't leave behind, and maybe this is just the inner nice Minnesotan in me, but I had to get them a gift. Also, I thought it killed their plants. So I did get them a gift. Not to say that you have to get them a gift, but I did find a plant store and I got them a gift card, a nice card. After that, I dropped the key and I was on my way to London. Lucky for me, the next sit that I had was actually at Zone 1 in London. And if you've never been to London, Zone 1 is basically as central as you can get. The farther you go out in zones, the farther you are from the center. And I was a 7-minute walk to get to the tube. And also only a 20-minute walk from the Battersea Power Station and only 2 miles from Big Ben. However, there was one catch to that, which was that this place was, it was tiny. It's honestly the equivalent to what my bedroom, which is a master bedroom, is in my home. However, it had everything I needed. This sit was a little bit different because I didn't actually have a packet that I was given. I just had some messages. And similar to in Dublin, I actually met the host before and we exchanged the key and, I got to meet them face to face. But yeah, that was pretty much it. I came in on the day that I needed to and it was fine. I met Floki the cat. So this is our lovely man of the hour on this sit. He's usually in this chair most of the time. This sit in London, I'll be here for about 2 weeks. And he's been pretty easy. Just can't be left alone for over 12 hours, which is kind of normal for cats. But yeah, he's just chilling. The schedule was pretty easy. It was just a feeding schedule in the morning and at night. There wasn't any behavioral issues. I sent updates every single day. And one thing that was actually very similar to the Dublin sit and this sit is that I felt pretty safe, talking with the people going back and forth. It wasn't just questions of, how are the cats? How are the houses? It was, how are you finding it? You feel okay? My neighbors are available if you need anything. There was a lot of things that, especially as a single woman myself, who has a little bit of apprehension when traveling, I felt pretty at ease. And obviously, there's not somebody there, but knowing that they had neighbors was a pretty secure feeling. And well, hotels do have that. I do feel Airbnbs do not. Okay. I think that this clip of the difference of Airbnbs, it really sets the standard.
Hello, I see you message me 2 minutes ago, and I am so sorry for the delay in respond to you, but I will walk the key to you right now. It's no problem. I live very close. Much. Hey, here's the code to get into the building. Don't bring anyone with you. There's 6 pages of instructions for.
Although I know this references American Airbnbs, I think this is Airbnbs anywhere. I think that Airbnbs in general, compared to hotels, the customer service, it is just. It's honestly a joke. All in all, similar to the other sit, it was pretty, chill. I had a normal routine. I had the cat's routine. When it comes to the sits versus the hotels or Airbnbs, what kind of money are we talking about? Let's get into the numbers. How much money did I actually save during these house sits if I would have booked a hotel or an Airbnb? In central London, I think it's safe to say for anything comparable to the location I had and to the amenities that I had, so the kitchen, all of that, for 2 weeks, which is how long I was there, good luck finding something less than $2,500. Now, Dublin is a little bit cheaper. I think that you could find something comparable to where I stayed in for 10 days for about $2,000, give or take a few on each side. Which, if you look at it, that is almost $5,000 in savings. Wow. Which is $5,000 to spend things that you care about more, which for me is stimulating the economy through fashion, as well as doing other activities with people that I'm meeting when I'm there. What is this? Did you know it was gonna look like that?
No, I didn't.
Sorry, say hi to the camera. And that is one of the huge benefits of house sitting is that because you are saving so much money on accommodation, you can actually put that money towards something you want to do instead of spending it on, just sleeping in a bed. Alas, we have made it to the end, my friends. Would I actually recommend house sitting? Well, if you are a person who is, one, not allergic to animals, if you are a solo traveler or somebody who has a family, if you are a remote worker, if you're somebody that could stay in somewhere longer, or potentially, just not do as many activities during the week, or has a little bit more of a flexible schedule and doesn't mind the additional responsibilities and is very communicative and also wants a local experience that is not touristy, then this I would recommend for you. But if you are the type of traveler that needs to be in a certain place, you have all of these jam-packed activities, and you really don't want to, do anything with the cleaning or anything like that, then no, I would not recommend this to you. The trade-offs that you have are so minimal in my opinion. But again, they're minimal assuming that you get what you advertised for. Other aspect is safety. So obviously, as a single woman traveling, I'm hyper vigilant that house sitting potentially for the wrong people or finding out something is not accurate, whether that's the animals or the place you're sitting, is a very huge risk factor, which is why for me, I did a lot of vetting during my calls and, checked if there was surveillance, did a lot of additional due diligence things essentially. There's always going to be a risk that what you signed up for is not potentially what you're getting. However, I would also say that that's similar to Airbnbs and hotels in general. I think that we all know that we've seen those videos that go around saying that, oh, I paid for this, and then you get there and the pictures are literally just a background.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday.
So if you are going to be somebody that's going to go into house sitting, my advice would be make sure that you vet people very intentionally and also just understand what you're signing up for. Understand that these are people's homes and that these are people's pets. And if you're not going to respect them or take care of them, then you really shouldn't be there. All in all, I think that this is truly the best alternative to Airbnb and hotels. And while there is competition on the platform, there are definitely other platforms out there that you could choose that could be a little bit lower. So where does that leave us? That leaves us with you. Tell me in the comments, would you actually give house sitting a try? Or are you a person who's gonna stick to the hotels and Airbnbs? Which, again, I'm not hating on this. This is a budget travel hack. And sometimes you just want to have a hotel or a really cool Airbnb, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm curious, if you would give it a try, where would you go? And if you are also interested in trying trusted house sitters, I do have a referral link that you can try. I do not get anything for this. This is not a sponsored video. I mean, look at this background. If this was sponsored, I think I could have included a larger curtain. So it's just a referral link that I get a little bit off my membership when it renews. So tell me in the comments below, would you try house sitting? And if you would, where would you go?